Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Aseem Singhal and today I'm going to discuss about a momentum indicator. Yes, a momentum indicator is an indicator which tells us how much momentum is there in a particular stock, future and or option, and based on that we can take precise entries. This is especially useful for buying of options. This is why, because when we are buying options we would make money because of two things. First thing is we need to have the direction right. That means if the stock is going up, we need to buy a call. If the stock is going down, we need to buy a put. But that is not enough. When we are buying options, we know that the theta is against us. That means if we hold on to the stocks for too long, or if we wait for a movement to come, more or less our profits will not be that great, or it may even lead to losses. That means if we have some way to figure out that the entry that we have got also has good momentum, that would lead to a good profits, and for that we are going to use the ADX indicator. But before we discuss about the ADX indicator, make sure that you subscribe to my channel and like this video. So let's start today's video. So let us discuss how this ADX indicator work. Basically, if the value of the ADX indicator is less than 25, that shows that the strength is not there in a particular stock and it is slightly sluggish. Whereas if the value of the ADX indicator is above 25, that shows that that particular stock or that particular option has great strength and there is chance that the stock will go in that same direction. Now, important thing to note is that ADX only tells you about the momentum. It does not tell you about the direction. So it does not mean that if the value of ADX is less than 25, the stock is going to go down. All it means, if the value of ADX is less than 25, is that there is no or very less momentum in that particular stock. To take an example, if we find that a stock breaks a resistance and at the same time the value of ADX becomes more than 25, there is high chance that the stock will keep going up because there is momentum behind it. Similarly, if a particular stock breaks its support and at the same time the value of ADX is more than 25, yes, more than 25, then there is high chance that the stock will keep going down because there are downward momentum in this stock. We'll see some examples of some stocks. We will also see some examples of Nifty, Banknifty and options so that you can see how good this ADX indicator works. So let us discuss about the ADX indicator in a little more detail. As I said, the ADX indicator stands for average directional index and it only tells us the speed or the momentum of that particular stock. What we know is that if ADX is below 25, then generally the stock does not have a very good trend and it might be very sluggish. On the other hand, if it is above 25, then it is in a strong trend and it will keep going in that direction. Please note that ADX will not tell you the direction, it will only tell you the trend. And we will be using the default settings of 14 period only. Let us also discuss what are the advantages and disadvantages of ADX. ADX is very important during trending markets because during trending markets it tells us whether the trend is going to continue or not, and we can take very good entries during using that. But if it's a sideways market, you will generally notice that ADX value will be less than 25 and then we can avoid that stock. Also, as I said, it tells us the strength of the trend and it tells us if the strength will keep going and if the stock will keep going in that particular direction, but it will never give us a direction. So for direction, we should always look at some other parameters. We can probably look at some other indicator, or we can take entry based on support and resistance. We'll take some examples now so that you can understand how do we know which entry to take and which to skip. So here I'm showing you the example of Tata Steel. As we can see, the stock has been getting a good resistance around this 110 levels and it is not able to break it, but it was able to break it somewhere here. Now we have to check whether we should take an entry or not. To do that analysis, we can look at the ADX and we know that during the same time the ADX value was above 25, which tells us that okay, there was a good decent momentum here and ADX was going upwards. So that is how we could have taken an entry here. And as you can see, the stock went up pretty quickly, almost gave us a 5% return in almost just 1 or 2 days. Let's see one more example. This time I'm showing you Hindalco, and I'm showing you again on a 5-minute time frame. Again, the stock was getting resistance around this level, which is around 615 level. And finally, it was able to give a breakout here. Now, again, we have to check whether there was a push or whether there was a momentum also, which we can find using the ADX. As we can see, the ADX value was above 25. That means there was decent momentum. In fact, it was increasing. So we could have taken an entry and we could have got in till here. Now again, we can notice that from here ADX started to decline. That means the trend was reducing. So this was probably a decent time to take an exit, and we could have come out after taking a small trade here. Let's take a couple more examples. This time I'm giving you an example of bearishness, and I'm showing Tata Steel example again. In this, we can see the stock is having a very strong support. But now we have to figure out whether we should go for a short entry or will it be a false breakout. As we can see, when the breakout comes, the value of ADX was increasing. Please note that we are trying to take a selling entry. That means the stock is going down. But since ADX is going up, it is telling us that yes, there is very good bearish momentum in the stock and we can take a selling entry. Let us take one more example and then we'll look at some live charts of Nifty, Banknifty, and we'll also look at an option chart. In this again, I'm showing you one more bearish example for Hindalco. We can see that the stock was having support around this level, around this 390 level. And then it gave us a gap down. But then we have to see what was the value of ADX and was it increasing. We can clearly see that the ADX was increasing during this time and it was above 25. Very good, again, very good entry to take. We could have shorted Hindalco, and as you can see, the stock went pretty quickly down. In fact, we would have gotten an entry at around 370. It went all the way through 320. So that's almost a 15% return in maybe just 1 or 2 days. So that's a great return because ADX was with us. Now with that, let us take some examples of Nifty and Banknifty and option example also, especially for option buying, which I truly like using ADX for. So I'm showing you the Nifty chart here on a 5-minute time frame, and I've added ADX at the bottom. You can use ADX in any time frame actually. So I will show you 5 minutes, but I will try to show you some other time frame also. And again, let us try to see if we are getting any good entries. We can see that Nifty is having a good resistance here around 18,200 levels, and it tried to give a breakout here, but it was a false breakout. How do we know that? Because the value of ADX was below 25. But when it gave the breakout for the second time, we can clearly see that ADX was going up and it was going above 25. So this was a good trade. We could have taken an entry and we could have come out here because the ADX stalled. So basically it started to go down again. So because of this, we could have taken an exit here. So it was a small scalping trade of almost 40-50 points in Nifty. Let us see one more example. We'll probably see one example of short trade this time. So let's see if we can get a good example. Yeah, so this looks like a decent example. So we can see that around 18,400 levels, the Nifty was getting very good support. So if we mark this level, around this 18,400 level, we were getting a very good support. And again, we want to check whether we should have taken an entry somewhere here or not. The value of ADX was almost 25, so we would have not taken an entry. But if you see here, when it actually gave a breakout, the value of ADX was above 25. So this was a perfect time again because ADX was telling that there is a lot of selling pressure here. So ADX was going up and Nifty was going down. We could have sold for 18,400 and it fell down to almost 18,250 levels. That means 150 points in maybe 1 day or 2 days. That's a profit of 7,500 rupees on a single lot. So that is how good ADX can be when we take the right entry at the right time. Let us now see an example of Banknifty also. So let us see an example of Banknifty this time. I have already added the ADX indicator and this is the 25 level line. We can see that Banknifty was having a very strong resistance somewhere around this level. And now we've had to see when we should take an entry. whether we should take an entry here or for the third time. So if you see, if we took the entry somewhere here, then it was not a good entry because ADX value was less than 25. Similarly, if we take the entry here, it was not a good entry because the value of ADX was still less than 25. But if you see, if we take the entry for the third time, ADX went above 25 and it would have given us a massive profitable trade. This was a great trade to take. Let us see how much profit we could have made using this trade. So our entry would be somewhere around 42,450 and it went all the way till 42,700. So that's a 250 point move in just one day. So that's the kind of move that we can get if we take the right entry using the ADX. And now let's see one example on buying of option strategy using ADX. So let us see last example on an option. As I said, I use ADX especially for doing buying of options. So I'm showing you 18,400 call on a 5-minute time frame. Let me again make the 25 levels, which is somewhere here. And now let us see if we could have taken this breakout trade or not. So if you make a line here, so if we try to make a line here, the resistance line of the option, we can see that every time the option was coming to its resistance line, it was not able to break it because the ADX was not there. So ADX was not supporting it. But the last time when it came, ADX was actually above 25. So we could have taken an entry around 20 levels, and it went from 20 all the way till 83. So that is 400%. The price went from 20 to 80. So we could have made a 60 rupees profit on an investment of 20 rupees. That's a great return, and especially these are the kind of returns that we want with option buying. And this was possible because the ADX was telling us that yes, there is high possibility that the stock or the option will go up. And as you can see, it went above 25 and kept going up. So this is how we use ADX indicator, and you can use it in options as well, especially for options buying. So I hope you liked today's video. You probably understood how ADX indicator works and how important it is to use it, especially at very important junctions when we talk about support, resistance, or any other pattern for that example. So let's say you're trading a pattern like a triangle breakout or a wedge breakout or a Darvas box breakout. All these kind of patterns work very well with ADX indicator because all of the breakout systems, they need some kind of a momentum to generate good returns. And for that momentum, we have a perfect indicator called ADX indicator. Do paper trade, put in your comments in the comment section. And if you do like the video, please like it and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.